Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to the new episode of Healing Conversations. And today I have with me Twinkle joining us from Brisbane, Australia. And she is a trauma informed healer. She helps people who has neurodivergence or has issues in relationship because of their past traumas to heal from them, to manage these issues so that they can live a life that they truly aspire. And this does not become a limitation, but they recognize what are their true gifts and then they live their life the way they want to. Hello, Twinkle. Welcome to my YouTube channel.
Hi Rutuja, thank you so much for inviting me. It's always my pleasure to to talk with you always. So thank you.
Yes, and your journey, Twinkle, has been personally very inspiring for me. The way you have, managed your neurodivergence and how you did not let it become one of the limitations and how you have reduced your own symptoms. So, congratulations. I know it's not an easy journey. It's not a single day's magic trick, but you have persistently been your own cheerleader in this journey. So, I really want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you. On that note, I also like to thank you for, helping me heal in this specifically with my neurodivergence. So with your coaching, it has been immensely helpful for me.
Thank you so
So,
much.
yeah.
Thank you so much. So, I want to know about that phase, Twinkle, that when you got your diagnosis and how did you have that idea that I must go and get this diagnosis of ADHD and what problems was it causing in your life and how was life back then?
So I got my diagnosis at the age of 42, which is quite recently, but I have been dealing with autism and attention deficit hyperactivity issues for all throughout my life since I attended my puberty. So after ninth standard, I would say that things started really spiraling down, especially in our culture and even I think across the globe. The mental health issues are not really that much given importance. So everyone just says, you it's okay or it will get better or you have to push hard. But like I was always procrastinating. I always used to have issues with active listening in the meetings at my workplace. So I just wasn't present into anything, and that used to add a lot of pressure and overwhelm. So executive function disorder, task paralysis, and so many other issues. So binge eating, so emotional eating. I used to, even to just continue my studies, I had to go through emotional eating. So it started like after 10, everything just started spiraling down. So I was doing well up to ninth standard as the studies are limited,
Mhm.
and then I wanted to pursue art or like other curriculum, but as our parents, like, they do not really like all that, and we have to study a lot, and especially after 9 the studies get so hard. So maths has always been that issue for me, and it wasn't about really trying hard because I wasn't focused at all. I just didn't knew how to focus, and I had so many issues, mental, with reading comprehension. And it's like we cannot say this to anyone, because if I say that I am reading a book and not really able to understand, then no one really appreciates that. So we have this fear of not telling anybody that what exactly is going on in my mind, and I have to just project myself. So I had to just keep masking all throughout my life. And with my autism, I used to have a lot of social anxiety, so I didn't wanted to go to the crowded places, social situations, so weddings and family events and ceremonies and all those things. And in our culture, like the elders and ancestors, like all the uncles, aunts, mom, dad, they just don't understand. They just push you through all that, and that used to cause me a lot of overwhelm. And everyone used to just say me that it's okay, it will get better with time, and you have to deal with it. You have to learn. These are the skills that you need to talk to people, and that used to cause me a lot of burnout. So every day I used to feel burnout and very tired and brain fog, so many issues. So, but yeah, I was not understanding what's really is going on. I used to just always think that something is wrong with me. That's what all the neurodivergent people, they think that something is wrong with me because not others around me, they are not having this issue.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, my daughter got diagnosed in when she was in her ninth standard. And then I started learning about it. And then it's like I was more in denial that, she has the issue, but I don't have. And again, that was like at workplace, I was having challenges. So I used to just move from one project to another, one project to another. And it used to become very apparent that I'm not really performing because of my lack of, that mental capacity that is needed in the IT job. And you have to have continuous meetings, so there was like always that added pressure of listening actively and managing everything, and that used to cause me a lot of overwhelm, burnout, anxiety all the time. So every single day that was adding guilt and shame. So it was kind of building up for the years. I think for, I would say, 20 years, that guilt and shame has, kind of built it up inside me, and I was just masking, and then finally I got drained and burned out. And then I was like, when I started researching about ADHD and ASD, I thought that it's something that's happening with me also. Like, this is what is happening with me. It's not just with my daughter. And then I was like, there was this time when I had, performance issues at work, and I was sort of, released from that project. And then I was like, no, I have to first sort my, mental health. That's what then I decided that this is the time when I must go and get myself diagnosed. And at that time also, I would say all my friends were saying, oh, it's like, it's just, you have to, nothing, there is nothing like ADHD or autism. It's just, the medical terms. And so many people, they struggle, but no one really, it's not going to help you, the diagnosis and all. It just, it's going to add a label upon you. So don't go for that. But then I just knew that it's the time that I have to sort this thing, because else there was like, I was feeling that I'm not going to survive now from here if I don't go. Then I went for my diagnosis, and thankfully, the psychiatrist who was diagnosing me, they had a GP, so for diagnosis, and she's also ADHD. So she was like, I would say, my soul sister who just understood me, and she validated every single thing right from the childhood till, adulthood, every experience, all my relationship issues, everything is linked to ADHD, the binge eating, the procrastination, the brain fog. And she was like, she told me that you were burnout when you started attending your college, because I never listened in my college, not even a single lecture I listened. So after 10th, I simply stopped listening in school and college. Every single day I used to just go there and sit there and come back, and used to feel guilty about it, that because I used to always daydream. So it was like, I mean, so many hours you are investing and nothing is really coming out.
Yeah.
And I wanted to pursue art. Like, I had even taken admission into fashion designing, but my mother was like, no, I'm not going to let you do that. You will have to go through engineering, and engineering was so hard for me.
I just want to reflect on what you said, that that you were masking things up and you were feeling that guilt and shame on the inside, and that's so hard. I mean, so many years you're listening and you're not even able to listen, not even able to focus. It might be so hard to be in that survival mode and to not accept that this is happening with me. I am struggling and it's not my fault. As you said, you were feeling that something is wrong with me and I have to hide myself. So this is, I think,
Yeah.
also a message for a lot of people who might be listening to this right now and might be struggling, that so many things are not our fault. And if we just go and visit a mental health practitioner or professional and a psychiatrist and get our diagnosis, that can be so validating. Because you said, that some people were saying it's just a label. And in my case, whenever I've worked with clients, I have seen that label, when you are actually having an issue and somebody calls it an issue, it is really something, some kind of burden has been taken off from your chest, from your shoulders, wherever you feel it. And that label only becomes a burden when you say that, oh, because I have this, I cannot do that. But I have seen you always say that, okay, I'm going to give it a try. And you remember how during our summit that we did, you gave a very long presentation, and that too without missing out on anything. Whereas people say that, people who have ADHD cannot do this, they cannot do the public speaking part, they get overwhelmed, this and that. And you did it so gracefully and so beautifully. And that's
Thank you.
the
Thank
beauty
you
of
so much.
acceptance.
Yeah, that was the first time I myself was surprised that at least I was, able to sail through that. even though at that time I was still feeling I was missing out on a lot of things, or still I was in that survival mode. But that helped me, to come out of that survival mode. So the more I'm accepting myself and the more I'm doing things which I love, the more that guilt and shame is sort of started releasing.
Yeah.
And the validation which I got, that, okay, so all those issues were not really my fault, that itself was like sort of self acceptance and self compassion. It started coming. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I just that now started feeling better also, like way better. And I've started setting my boundaries also. So now I know that I have this condition. It's not about like I'm not going too easy upon myself, but things which just gives me a lot of anxiety and overwhelm, I tell to people that I won't be able to participate in those events or something. That I choose what I love to do rather than just going with what others are expecting from me.
Yes,
So
and when you say what I love to do, and you had told me this, that when you pursue your interest, actually this neurodivergence becomes a gift because you go all in with it. You're so passionate into it, and I have seen you in that mode. So could you talk a little bit about that?
yeah, sure. The first thing, like, this was there inside me that I have to become a healer and I have to become a emotional wellness coach and have to pursue something in arts also, because I was very good in arts in childhood. And it was just, it used to be very easy for me. But then because I never got that, appreciation and acknowledgement, I stopped pursuing my art after 12th, because the studies got really hard upon me. And then it became my dormant skill now, so I'm still trying to get that flow back in my paintings.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. But this is something now that has new passion for me, to bring awareness on healing and breath work and all these ancient healing practices and spiritual practices, what exactly these art had to offer, and how intelligent our ancestors were, that they have already identified all these issues what we are seeing now. They had actually foreseen all this happening, because they knew that if people are not going to connect with their deepest self, the mental health issues are something that are bound to happen. So I would also like to say that my mental health issue is also linked to, like, my father. Now when I trace back, so my father was severely autistic and my mother was severely ADHD. So when we never see our parents in that way, because my mom had a lot of anger issues, anger, frustration, and now I just empathize with her, because she was so disconnected from her. And my dad was like severely autistic, then he used to just live very isolated. He was never able to express himself. He didn't used to talk to us, and he used to always stay in his own world, as if he's there but not really there for us. And that added so much pressure upon my mom, and that, like, her anxiety and everything. Then she started, because she got so anxious, so she started controlling my life, that at least her life shouldn't be spoiled because of whatever is going on. And that added another pressure. So it's like we think that my neurodiversity is just mine, but even if I see my child who is severely autistic and ADHD, so her neurodiversity is linked to mine, and mine is linked to my parents, and my parents is linked to my grandparents, because there has to be something going on. Even I know that these emotional issues were always there in my grandparents' life. So inner child wounds were always there. And yeah, so I would really want to say that that trauma is coming. I would say, I think trauma is nothing like something severe the way people think. Trauma is all about these inner child wounds, when no one in the lineage has processed abandonment, fear of rejection, anxiety, lack, poverty, and all these issues. When they come to our ancestors, they start changing our brain into survival mode, and that those are all physiological adaptations. So until it's like that is how the generational trauma passed on to us, that they were living into this survival, then I got into this severe. I think my parents were like severe fight or flight only, and then I also was into severe fight or flight, and never realize we don't realize that we are actually functioning into this fight or flight.
Yes. So
And
before we move ahead, because some of the words that are very convenient for you and me, because we are linked to this profession.
right,
But for our
yeah,
audience, I would just like to explain few words. ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. where it becomes very hard for a person to put their attention onto something, and it is much more complex than just not being able to focus. It is a proper psychiatric diagnosis which has to be done by a professional psychiatrist. And when we say survival and when we say fight or flight, we are saying somebody is living under this constant threat that something wrong is happening or something wrong is going to happen. So I have to be ready for the fight, or I want to flight, I want to go back, run away, because I may not be equipped with this. And when a person lives in this condition, they are disassociated with themselves. I mean, you're constantly living here, and this disassociation itself makes life very difficult. You know, whether you have trauma, whether you don't have trauma, but if you're feeling this disassociation, this disconnection with the self, it shows up in your life, it shows up in your body, in your health, in your relationship, it shows up. So whenever something is showing up as pain, it is a big enough reason to start working on it. You know, you don't have to actually think, oh, whether I have trauma, I don't have trauma, oh, but it's bothering you. So you need to speak to a professional who can help you out. And this thing is so important today, Twinkle, because you were telling me how it is a generational thing that got passed on, and there are research around how genetics are involved in it, how trauma is actually involved in it, because we mimic our parents a lot. We internalize many of their behaviors, and that's how that is passed on. And this particular thing, that they might not have the resources or time, our ancestors, to do this healing work, to do this deeper healing, but today we have. So that makes a very big difference, that today we have this opportunity. So coming to that, Twinkle, what actually helped you? How did you heal and reduce your symptoms of ADHD for yourself, and what tools helped you?
Yeah, so I think I also want to tell you that I also have autism spectrum disorder. So that is something that always, cause social anxiety. And so I have both, and both have their own struggles, and they keep fighting with each other in my brain. That one will push me here and one will push me here. So it's like, I'll tell you. So when I go into a mall, my ADHD takes me to, all those shiny objects, and I want to buy this and buy that. And the autism wants a structure, and it gets, very tired. So after I come back from the mall also, I'm like tired and exhausted. And it's like I haven't done anything, but I'm tired because I get overstimulated over there. So yeah, and coming to your question, so what helped me heal? So I've done a lot of work upon myself. So the first thing I started, like from last year in December, I started practicing breath work, and that every single day I started. I had this intuition that this is going to work for me. So I was taking medication, and I went for my, ADHD and autism coaching, counseling. So that is all good. They give us the strategy on how to manage your anxiety, or how to manage and how to set your boundaries, or some strategies which are good. But even to implement those strategies, when you're running on such a low energy inside your brain, even those strategies would, not really work. Because if I'm procrastinating, so if I'm getting up in the morning and by 10 or 11 a.m. I'm not able to do anything, so my brain is not getting energy, and I'm just only drinking coffee after coffee and still not feeling any better. So that strategies, then, I was also told to, do exercise, but I just couldn't do because there was no integration in my own self. So even in the exercise also, I used to lose focus, and so many, the thoughts used to come. So then I just thought that nothing is working on the root cause. And then I went for this quantum coaching, where I heard Dr. Espin. He also did, breath work. He did every single day. Like, he's doing it throughout his life, like since for like, I guess he's doing it for the now past 20 years. And he has seen tremendous changes. And somehow that clicked me that I should also practice this. So that then, like in 3 months, I started feeling that some days I was able to control my binge eating. So only during the time of my puberty, it used to still shoot up, that binge eating desire. But most of the days I was still better. So this happened like after 3 to 4 months, I started feeling that something is changing. Then I went for my Reiki healing with my Reiki healer. And there also I processed a lot of trauma with her. And then this was again an intuition that I just knew that I have trauma, and I have to have coaching from you as well to process all that. And then so many things came out, and we discussed, and I used to cry so many sessions. And every time I used to cry, after that I used to feel such a big relief. Even last week also we had that I had my own episode, and after like the session with you, I felt so much relief from inside. And because I was continuously also practicing breath work, so it was like my trauma was releasing. Like I can now feel that my trauma got released from my body and from my mind. And that fight or flight and survival mode, it automatically started coming down. And now I feel way better and integrated with myself. And I have that inner confidence that no matter what happens, I will be able to, live this life beautifully, confidently, the way I want to live. So that thing happened in this 1 year, like it started transforming, and a lot of support that I took. So thank you so much for supporting me, Rutuja,
Thank
during this time,
you.
because what I needed was this non-judgmental, compassionate space. That's what I realized, that I felt heard. I felt validated, because when I used to go to my friends and everyone else, what they used to say is, no, it's an issue with you, and you have to do this, and you have to do this, and you have to do more hard work. And normal people, they just say that you have to push hard, but
Yeah.
it is not really about pushing hard, because when your brain is functioning into this severe fight or flight, pushing hard is just going to drain everything out of you and just going to make you completely disintegrated from your own self. And these are so physiological changes that you start feeling, but you have to be consistent and patient with yourself, committed with your own self, and committed with your healing process. So anything that in this last year, I had got so many triggers, and you have to take that acceptance of all those triggers, that this is something inside me that is getting triggered. And yeah, so not really blaming anyone in the outside.
Yeah, what I want to really appreciate here, Twinkle, and what I see that has worked for you is taking a holistic approach because you took your medications as well, and never ever, at least in my practice or anything, I say that you have to leave your medications or anything because I am not a medical health
Hmm.
at all.
Yeah.
So I just don't touch upon that area. Doctors are trained in the things that they are doing. They have studied. So those things you have done. You did your Reiki and breath work, which put you in that zone where at least you can have a conversation about things. Where you are not operating from the flight or fight. And when you
Hmm.
came, I think I played a very small role in your journey. Actually, you came to me more from
It was
the
very
business.
important role.
Yeah, and what we really worked on, I see during our sessions, is the integration part. Like you said, these two parts, one pulls you towards the shiny things, one wants predictability. I think we were able to put the pieces of the puzzle in the right way, which got you going. And in my practice, I never touch upon, going into people's trauma because that's not really the area of coaching. But I do the integration work with people, and they have always reported that they could release a lot in that process, and if that is naturally happening, it's always welcome. And you said that it happened with you as well. So that's the beauty of coaching, where you have a future vision which you had for your healing work and your business, and that gives you the power to integrate things together, and then you go into a certain direction. That's really beautiful, Twinkle, to know about your journey. And I know you also help people manage their neurodivergence and the effects it causes in their relationship, and you help people to put their life together. So I want you to leave one message for all the people who are watching us right now. What would be your parting thoughts, Twinkle?
Sure, Ruja. First of all, I want to say thank you to you, because what you have done was the most crucial aspect, that was missing from that entire healing journey. And yeah, it was something that, the trauma processing actually happened in our coaching only. And the message which I want to give to all the neurodiverse people is always, believe in yourself, believe in the power of healing and spiritual practices. So even though they do not show you the results right away, but it keeps building on. And always connect with the right people who can guide you. So because different people have different level of stored trauma, so that takes time. And for neurodiverse people, it is also very important to identify your passions and pursue them, because that is what is going to give you that inner confidence. So also, what the outside reflection also starts giving you, like bringing your nervous system back into this parasympathetic state. So it's all about, and it's so physiological. Like people think that that's something woo, but it is not really. It is, everything is physiological and very scientific, if we study it. So yeah, just believe in yourself and believe in the power which is within you, is my message.
Very beautiful message. Thank you so much, Twinkle. And yes, the power is within you. And I see that there are two very important ingredients in this healing. One is the second important, which is how deep is the person and how non-judgmental is the person who is holding space for you in your healing, coaching, counseling, therapy, whatever you're going to, your therapist, your coach, your healer. And then comes the first important, which is your willingness. And in your case, Twinkle, it was 1000%. And that has created the magic. So thank you so much to accepting my invite to come for this conversation. We'll stop here and see you all in the next episode.